Surf's up, YouTube. Today we're going to talk about the three waves of feminism. Now, I know what you're thinking. Haley, history is boring. Get to the part about dismantling the patriarchy. Let me unlearn you a thing. Feminism, as an ideology and as a movement, is constantly evolving. Feminism looks different to different people in different places and in different times, so to say that there's only one universal feminism would be wrong. But in order to understand feminism as it is today, we have to understand what feminism was in the past. So hang on to your bra straps, kids, because it's about to get historical. While the history of women's struggle for equality extends well before the 19th century and the women's suffrage movement in the United States and the United Kingdom, when you hear talk about the beginning of the feminist movement, you're probably going to hear a lot about the first, second, and third waves of feminism. Now you're probably thinking, waves, is that like some sort of secret handshake? And unfortunately, no, YouTube, it's not. It's not nearly as cool as that. These so-called waves are periods of peak activity within the feminist movement, the first one beginning around the late 1800s, early 1900s, the second beginning in the 1960s, and the third around the 1990s. So now you're all dying to know, Kaylee, what were these three waves all about? The first wave is probably the one you guys are the most familiar with, and it's most commonly known as the women's suffrage movement. Primary goals for this wave included gaining equal access to education, earning the right to enter into and practice professions, and gaining the right to vote. Spoiler alert for that last one, they did it. The second wave, on the other hand, was a reaction to the pressure for women to return to the domestic sphere after the men came back from World War II. A pushback, if you will, against the get back in the kitchen and make me a sandwich mentality. This wave focused on social as well as legal inequalities. It not only sought to address issues such as discriminatory laws, but also issues like violence against women, reproductive rights, sexuality, and sexual identity. As this was taking place right around the time of the civil rights movement, the second wave of feminism was a lot more inclusive of other minority groups than the first. But it wasn't perfect. Which brings us to the third wave of feminism, which is a lot more difficult to describe. Ooh, intrigue. Not so much. But there is a lot of debate about what third wave feminism is working towards. Because technically we're in the middle of third wave feminism. Although you do have some people saying that third wave feminism isn't really a third wave so much as it is an extension of the second wave. However, issues that are currently at the forefront of third wave feminism include gender violence, reproductive rights, rape, and intersectionality. Intersectionality probably being the biggest difference between second and third wave feminism, or at least the biggest point of contention. Now we'll be discussing intersectionality in a lot more detail in an upcoming video. However, for today we'll just say that intersectionality is how a person's different identities can combine to create different experiences of oppression. Now, there are a lot of criticisms about this wave model of dividing up the feminist movement. People arguing that by sectioning off the movement into different waves, we aren't taking into account ongoing activity within the movement, as well as taking into consideration movements going on in non-Western nations, or any nation really that's outside of the US. In fact, one of the major criticisms of this model is that it makes it seem as if feminism is centered in and had its origins in the Western world, which is obviously not the case. That being said, it's difficult to talk about the history of feminism without discussing these waves, which means over the next 3 Sundays we'll be taking an in-depth look into each wave and specifically looking at their key figures, their successes and failures, and most importantly, their criticisms. So get stoked! But until then, hang 10 YouTube, I'll see you on Sunday.